Well, welcome back, everybody. Have you had your morning coffee? Have you listened to the top 10? And now you're here for the most compelling analysis of the reserve list and the bottom 10 cards that no one cares about? Well, you've come to the right place, because the beer just won't quit. And here we're going to discuss the reserve list. The 74 of you amazing Magic the Gathering fans who have joined us again, and the Freetrons, and all of those of you tuning in on the juice. Thanks a lot for watching. I've been speaking to Alex, and he's informed me that only 53% of the people watching have hit that subscribe button. So go ahead, hit that, smash that, bang that, mash that subscribe button down below so we can continue to bring you more amazing videos. The bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about, that we're buying.
Well, all right, we're happy to be here and we're prepared to do this, but we're going to start off exactly where we left off the last time with an honorable mention for Debt of Loyalty. Nobody cares about this card. Coming in at number 10 on our list, Covetous Dragon. The first card on our list, the card from Urza's Destiny. It's a 6/5, cost you $5.74 or €5.47 to get this into the collection. Flying 6/5, when you control no artifacts, sacrifice Covetous Dragon. Well, no one cares about this card. Might as well move on to the number 9 slot. Wait! We haven't said why we like the card. We like the card simply because with the printing coming up of the Brothers' War, we think here at AlphonsoInvestments that any of the cards from the old Urza's block are going to become more and more sought after, important, and relevant. Bringing us to our number 9 spot on our list, the Cycle of Life from Mirage. It's an enchantment. I like this card. I really do. I'd like to play it. Costs you $1.28 to get it into the collection, or €1.67. This enchantment costs you 2 green and 1. Return Cycle of Life to your owner's hand. Target creature you summon this turn is a 0/1 until the beginning of your next upkeep. At the beginning of your next upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Thus does nature assert herself. Well, in an enchantment build, if I was building enchantments, whether it be to buff creatures, make them taller, like a Voltron type deck, or enchantment deck where you get triggers, or you surveil, or you disinformation campaign style blink creatures in and out of the battlefield to gain value, I would be playing this card, Cycle of Life. It's right on the bottom end of the reserve list where no one cares about it, so we're buying it. Which brings us to our next card on our list, the Keeper of Tresserhorn from Alliances, and 6/6, $1.51 to get into the collection, or €1.48. 1 black and 5, the Keeper of Tresserhorn is a 6/6. It says, if Keeper of Tresserhorn attacks and is not blocked, it deals no combat damage this turn to defending player. Instead, defending player loses 2 life. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. This sound familiar? Like the Amonkhet block, the Afflict ability. This seems like the Afflict ability before Afflict was a keyword mechanic. I think they tried to put a downside on this 6/6 back in Alliances where things were underpowered, and it didn't quite work out that way. Target player losing 2 life for an unblocked creature doesn't seem so bad for a 6/6 from Alliances. It's only $1.50, and no one cares about the Keeper of Tresserhorn. Nobody wants to play it, but we do, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list. Coming in at number 6 on our list, Brody Alfonso's list of the bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about, Pygmy Hippo from Visions. Aww, for $4.49 or €3.03, we can get a copy of this tutu that costs 1 blue and 1 green to cast, a Hip Hop Anonymous. Pygmy Hippo. If he attacks and is not blocked, you may choose to have it deal no combat damage this turn. If you do, defending player draws all mana from his or her lands, and then his or her mana pool is emptied. After combat, add an equal amount of colorless mana to your mana pool. It's a mana drain on a stick. It seems a lot like a fun card. If you want to attack a player, pick the one who's got the most lands in play. Nobody wants to play a copy of the Pygmy Hippo in their deck, or nobody wants to even pet a copy of the Pygmy Hippo or feed the Pygmy Hippo, but we do, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list, the number 6 on our list, Suleiman's Legacy. With Suleiman's ascension to power, the Djinn and Ifrits of ancient Rabia learned humility. Well, for $2.97 or €2, 20 euro cent, Suleiman's Legacy is seeing humility down at the bottom end of the reserve list, right where no one cares about it. When Suleiman's Legacy comes into play, bury all Djinns and Ifrits for 1 red and 1 white. Whenever a Djinn or Ifrit comes into play, bury it. Djinns and Ifrits can't be played. Basically, it's a board wipe for Djinns and Ifrits, and it locks down the board from any other ones coming into play. It seemed relevant back in the day with like Serendib Ifrit, and there was a few Djinns and the Mahamodi and the classic Djinns and Ifrits that we know about, but we haven't really seen a reprinting of Djinns and Ifrits in later sets. But listen to me, folks. If you think that with the power creep that Wizards of the Coast has incorporated onto creatures in the game going forward, we're not going to see a reprint of an insanely powerful Djinn or Ifrit in the future, you're kidding yourself. And this is an insurance policy against that. And for $2.97, I want to have one. So we're buying it. Suleiman's Legacy. Which brings us to the next card on our list of Brody Alfonso's list, at the bottom end of the reserve list of cards no one cares about, the Dominating Licid from Exodus. I have to check to see if this is available in foil, but for $8.52 or €4, 40 euro cent, you too can get a copy of this in the collection. A card I played early when I got into Commander and built a Mariki Barrett deck, a creature stealing deck. This goes in there. It's an interesting card for 2 blue and 1. You get a 1/1 creature that's got some text on it. Pay 2 blue and 1 and tap it. The Dominating Licid loses this ability and becomes a creature enchantment that reads, gain control of enchanted creature, instead of any other type of permanent. Move Dominating Licid onto target creature. You may pay 1 blue to end this effect. I think they just didn't want to reprint this card because it was worded so crazily. It's a head scratcher, it does shenanigans, and it takes creatures of your opponents, and it turns itself into an enchantment and then out of an enchantment. And if you didn't see it before, folks, check the art on this card. There's a face in the background of this. If you didn't see it before, you'll see it now. The Dominating Licid coming in on our list, and the bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about, which brings us to our next card. Number 4 on our list is Aberoth. I've been meaning to cover this card because it's right, if you sort the reserve list alphabetically, he comes up right up there on the top of the list alphabetically, but he is down in the bottom end of the reserve list cards where no one cares about Aberoth. But for $2.95 or €1.98 euro cent, we can get ourselves a copy of a 9/9 Aberoth. It costs 2 green and 4, 6 mana for a 9/9. Let's read the card. Cumulative upkeep. Put a -1/-1 counter on Aberoth. Well, with cards that are printed like Shared Fate that remove counters from creatures and move them on to other creatures, this guy, I mean, if you can find a way to remove the counters and put them onto your opponent's stuff and kill it, I mean, this seems like a counter-generating machine. The Weatherlight banks sharply as the Colossus Beast rose up to crush the Lone Rider. My bet's on the dirt, Gerard said flatly. There's even a picture of the Weatherlight in the background on this great illustration from Braum. Aberoth coming in at the bottom end of the reserve list that no one cares about. So we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list. The number 3 card on our list, Bazaar of Wonders from Mirage. Coming in at $3.13 or €3 and 2 euro cent. For 5 mana, 2 blue and 3, the Bazaar of Wonders is an enchant world that, when it comes into the battlefield, remove all cards in all graveyards from the game. Sort of like a ley line effect, just boom. ditches all graveyards. That in itself is powerful in a 4-player game. When a spell is played, counter it if a card with the same name is in play or in any graveyard. If you get there first, no one else can. If you have a way of dropping this onto the battlefield and then getting your staples onto the battlefield first and immediately after it, no one else can play it. If you get your Soul Ring onto the battlefield, that's it, no more Soul Rings. It's a lockdown card, and it's $3.13, and it's way down at the bottom end of the reserve list where no one cares about the Bazaar of Wonders, and no one wants to buy at the Bazaar of Wonders. But we do. We want to shop at the Bazaar of Wonders, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the number 2 card on our list, a card with a great beard and mustache. Comment in the comments section below. For this card, from the Fallen Empire's block, Hand of Justice. $3.11 or €3, €1 . Don't forget the euro cent. It's cost you that to get a copy of the Hand of Justice into your collection. We used to play this back in the day with citizen tokens. Cost you 1 white and 5 for a 2/6 avatar, and that creature type is super relevant. You tap it and tap 3 target white creatures you control to destroy any target creature. It's removal on a stick, and it's illustrated by Melissa Benson, a great artist. Brought us this rendition of the 2/6 Hand of Justice avatar. Coming in at number 2 on the bottom end of the reserve list card for this week that no one cares about, so we're buying it. And the number 1 card on our list, I'm so happy to see a creature on our list again this week. The number 1 on our list is Taniwha. Taniwha rolls in its sleep, and the land is awash with the waves. Poetics of Hannah. Taniwha is number 1 on Brody Alfonso's list of the reserve list that no one cares about. And I want you to pay attention to everybody tuning in on the channel, those listening around the world. Why do we like this card? I'm telling you right now, phasing is coming back. This is the part where you go to the comment section and you leave a comment saying Brody Alfonso is crazy. That's right, phasing is relevant. I like phasing. I think it's coming back. It's super important. It's a game mechanic that was got away from back in the day, but I think later on down the road, the fact that when permanents are just pretty much disappeared, people can't interact with them, and you get all the ETBs and all the good stuff and shenanigans that comes with it. Look at this card, Taniwha. It's a 5 mana 7/7. Hello, 2 blue and 3. You get a 7/7 phasing trample, and that's not all. It's legendary, and at the beginning of your upkeep, all lands you control phase out. Why is this good? Well, if you have an Armageddon type spell that basically removes all the lands in play, this card makes sure your stuff is safe and sound. It's one of the few cards on the reserve list that have phasing, and it's coming in at the number 1 slot on Brody Alfonso's list this week of the bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about, that we're buying. And if you like this video and you want to see any other videos, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you more free Magic the Gathering content and the most compelling analysis of the reserve list, the bottom end of the reserve list that no one cares about, that we're buying. The Hand of Justice will come to cleanse the world if we are true. Here's looking at you, Hand of Justice.
Well, there you have it, folks. The bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who hit that subscribe button. And a shout out to all the Freetreons and my dad who's watching. And each and every one of you Magic the Gathering fans from around the world. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you all again next time.